Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ryan Newpel here, episode 237 of the Knup Sports Show. Super excited to be back for another one. I cannot believe we're at 237. They just keep ticking off. We keep bringing amazing people doing amazing things in sports, and I think today you're going to really enjoy the guest. We got what I consider to be one of the pioneers of what we consider today of daily fantasy sports betting, especially here in the United States. One of the guys that's really responsible for bringing what we live and breathe every single day to us. And I'm excited to dive in and really focus on his new project, what he has going on. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to bring on our guest who you're all itching to meet here today. Let's bring him on. Nigel Eccles with BetHog. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Excited to chat with you, Nigel. I know, we sort of go way back, it's like 15 years ago, back when I met you. Back through the old one season days. You remember one season back in the day?
Oh my God. Yeah, no, you're going way back. Yeah, that was a fun product. Yeah.
I sometimes my mind just gets blown when I reminisce of where we've all been, right?
The one season was like nearly like pre-crypto NFTs, right? Like there was you bought a player.
Yeah, they had stock exchange of players.
Stock idea, yeah. And it didn't quite work, but it was kind of interesting concept.
It didn't work, but what I like to consider is like this chain of events, like things like leading onto another.
Yeah.
And what's funny is what I vividly remember, especially looking back with your success, I vividly remember, FanDuel coming right after that. I mean, literally 2009, after that kind of folded, the FanDuel like, oh, what's this? This is cool. And Nigel, I don't want to get too much into that, but I'd love for you to kind of tell your story leading up to, where you were to where you are today before we dive into BetHog.
But very quick
your journey.
Kind of backstory on me. So I've been an entrepreneur in online sports betting and gaming for since 2000. I was an early employee at Flutter.com, which became Flutter Entertainment. I relaunched it as a betting exchange. I relaunched the BetHog betting exchange, one based in Dublin, and then launched FanDuel in 2009. Prior to FanDuel, we actually launched a prediction market called HubDub. So obviously loads of news about Polymarket this year. We launched one in the 2008 election cycle, did very well. And then post-election cycle, what you discover with prediction markets is they're great for elections, not that great for most other things. And so what happened with FanDuel is here today is because that election happened, our interest trailed off, and then we pivoted to fantasy sports. We pivoted to build FanDuel.
Yep.
And so launched FanDuel 2009, grew it very, very rapidly. I ultimately left, actually just as PASPA was happening, as I was moving into sports betting. I was sort of end of 2017. And then have done lots of other startups since then, and whether it's social media, sports cards, and then over the last sort of 4 years, been in crypto. So launched a betting exchange called BetDex, which is still operational today, and then now starting the start of this year, working on BetHog, which we launched last week.
Amazing. I mean, I'm sure all of that experience is giving you so much knowledge and so much experience to really you probably feel so confident being able to launch a product like BetHog at this point.
I don't know if you ever do. Because I'm never I've always been interested in something new, and by new, it usually means that no one else is doing it, which means that it's a risk, it's a gamble. It definitely is a space I feel comfortable with and feel okay. This is a space where I know the right people and the right strategies and where some of the mistakes are, but you're never guaranteed. It's you've no idea. I certainly would never want to do something. It's it's like that. I think that's the biggest mistake people make in business is, we saw FanDuel launch, we saw 100 direct derivative competitors, and none of them, or almost none of them, exist today, right? And so what I've always wanted to do is to launch something new, and by that means there's a risk that we got something wrong.
Sure. So tell us a little bit about BetHog and what the new product is. I know it's in crypto. I think I saw you post the other day. Crypto, sports, and betting. 3 of our favorite words.
Yeah.
Something like that. So
Yeah. So like, there's really two aspects to it. There's a kind of a simple aspect, which is when you're an operator, what you discover is one of the biggest issues you have is payments, right? You can, particularly if you're operating internationally, you can get the users, you can get them in, you get them to bet, but to get the money in is a nightmare, right? Like, it's like, okay, now I need to like have a relationship with Visa and then with acquiring bank and it's really difficult. People don't really appreciate that. And even if I do have that, I don't know when I might lose it. I might just wake up one day and it's gone. I don't know what I'm going to get hit with fraud and chargebacks. So you have this huge issues. It's still incredibly expensive, even if I have that. And so crypto, one of the things, crypto is not great for a lot of things, but one of the things it's brilliant for is payments. I can basically give somebody a wallet address. They can send me money. I get it almost instantly at almost zero fees.
Mhm.
That's brilliant. And that's kind of the simple part. And companies like Stake have shown that's a really big thing in its own right.
Sure.
The bigger part, I think there's 2 bigger parts. And there's 2 probably additional aspects that we're excited about. So that's great. We can get money in and out. So can Stake. Great. But what can we do new? And the first thing, what we think is really interesting is today, one of the main acquisition channels for casino games is actually streaming. Streaming is huge, whether it's for video gaming, whether it's for gambling, like say on Kick. And so you can go on a Kick right now and you'll watch, tens of thousands of people watching somebody streaming, playing slots. The thing that we think is interesting is even though the means of acquisition has transformed, the games themselves are exactly the same. So I'm watching somebody play a slot game that I literally could have played 10 years ago, right? And so we're like, why is slots not changed? Like, we've seen, you think of 10 years ago, the games that you were playing on your phone, totally different from what you're playing today, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think, well, what happened to all that innovation? Why hasn't that come into slots? But particularly when it's become much more of a social experience, people are like watching other people play. Why doesn't the game aspect change? And so one of the titles that we have actually allows the audience to interact with the streamer when they're playing the game. We can talk about that one. And then the last thing that we are really focused on, which we think is really interesting, is the sort of people who are into crypto. And I was chatting to a few people yesterday about this, and the sort of people who play slots are actually really not the same group, right? Mm-hmm. So slots, for example, skews older female, but it's much more of like an entertainment product. People aren't expecting to make money on it, right? It's not a skill game, right? Yeah. People in crypto skew younger, male, like 95% male. But one of the biggest things is they're willing to spend thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars playing a game that they think they can win on. Mm-hmm. Not slots, right? So here we have like the crypto audience and here we have the slots audience, and there's really kind of isn't any overlap. And so what we want to do is build some titles that are skill-based, like DFS is, sports betting is, like say poker is. Now we want it to be simple. People don't want to learn really complicated new games, but they want something where they can have an edge and they can compete with other people on. So that's something also we're developing to make what we think could be a big difference in this market.
Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, as I look, and I'll pull up the BetHog.com site now, but as I look at some of the titles and games, I mean, very creative, right? Very new and innovative looking. You talked a little bit about the casino. Talk a little bit about the sports side as well, because I know there is a sports element to this.
Yeah.
So talk about that side.
Sports is definitely a focus. It's more underdeveloped compared to the casino side, but where we want to get to with sports, we've done some work on changing the interface. So one of the very simple things we've done is in sports is we have different kind of modes. Are you betting a single? Are you betting a multi or a parlay or a single game parlay? What we find with a lot of sports books today is they have this kind of shopping cart approach where you just like putting in loads of different types of bets. It makes the interface really confusing. So we try to simplify it. What we want to do longer term also is just kind of make the experience more fun. we're not there yet, but like my criticism of the sort of online sportsbook industry is like they kind of want to treat it like a banking app, right? I just want to get in, put my bet, gone, right? I don't want to interact. I don't want it to be any fun. I don't want it to be engaging, right? And that's fine. I'm sure maybe there's a lot of bettors that are that. We think that actually we can make the experience of betting more fun, right? Like when you win your bet, why is it like in a section called history? You have to go and scroll through and like, oh, here's my bet. It's in history, why isn't it a bigger event? Like, so these are things that we think they can do much, we think we can do, and we can, really bring to the industry.
Cool. So talk about the launch. So you had a launch here recently. Talk about the product life cycle. Where are you at? You launched. Where are you guys live at? What's that look like?
Started work in January. So it's been in development for about 10 or 11 months. We launched last week. We operate internationally, so we don't operate in the US or say UK. We're not licensed there yet. One day we want to get there. We're not there today, but we want to really prove this in the international market. We do. It is crypto only at the moment, so you need to have crypto to play it. Again, crypto is great for payments, but it's not the thing that we're most excited about. We're actually most excited about these kind of totally new types of games that differentiate us from every other game, even onshore or offshore. That's where we really think we're differentiated.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. So I have to ask, well, the logo, because it's amazing. Well, where'd the inspiration of the brand to come from?
Yeah. So it was my co-founder came up with the name, and we were like, I don't know. Like it was just didn't hit us at all. And then we've got an incredible designer who just said, let me do so. And he created it. And we were like, this is perfect. And it was perfect in a way that we didn't realize initially. We realized like immediately when we saw it was our biggest criticism of a lot of brands today is they're boring, right? They are boring. They have no personality. Like even FanDuel. And one of the challenges with FanDuel was we knew that this was quite controversial. Like we were creating something that people would look at it and think this was illegal. And so we wanted to be safe. Like we didn't want to like really push the boundary on it and like put too much sort of personality and challenge into the brand. And in a way that's great. Like I love the FanDuel brand. I love what we built. But it's a little boring, right? It doesn't have that personality, what we really want in this product. And so with BetHog, we wanted to put sort of the fun back into betting, right? Yeah. Like I just think a lot of discussion around betting just gets too serious. Betting is an entertainment product. Betting is fun. Like the number of people that I've met over the years that just loved FanDuel. I talk about, oh yeah, I found FanDuel. They're like, wow, I love that. I love, you don't get that with utility type products. You get this with these type of entertainment products. And so with BetHog, we wanted something that the brand just said fun. Like you're going to have fun here. And we're not going to take ourselves too seriously. We're going to like deliver a really fun product. And we know it's working because people were saying, I love it. It's such a fun product. You keep innovating with really cool, crazy things. And the hog himself, like you can see the personality there. He's kind of like, we were like, how would you describe him? I said, he's kind of that guy at university or college that, was just like so much fun, right? Like you're maybe have question marks on whether they're going to be successful in life, but they're fun, right? You're guaranteed fun, right? Yeah. That's kind of who we sort of thought of the hog. So that's when the whole personality kind of comes from there.
I'm amazed. How do you keep your energy and passion for this industry, Nigel? Because I mean, I can only imagine. I don't want to call it burnout. I mean, but like, let's face it. You went through this big
whole journey
mode with FanDuel. I mean, what a journey you went on with FanDuel. And like now to kind of just still be in the industry.
Back into it.
How do you get energy and that passion?
Yeah, like. I actually, after FanDuel, in fact, this is the second time I actually left the industry. It was like, okay, I'm done. I feel I've done everything I'm going to do here. And I left. I also felt that the US market, it was clear who the winners are going to be. And then like in 2018, I was like, look, FanDuel and DraftKings both invested billions of dollars. And I remember telling people, I said, look, you could give me $500 million and I'd give it back to you. I'm like, I'm not burning somebody else's money to be an also ran in this market.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the time to get into markets is when you're early, when other people are like, oh, I don't know, it seems a bit risky, right? That's the time to do it, not when it's obvious. And 2018, sports betting was obvious. And so I kind of got out of the industry and then I kind of missed it. You know, I missed the fun. I missed, we were building social products and we were building products in the music industry.
Mhm.
And it was cool. And we got a lot of insight. And I think we got a lot of insight we want to bring back to this product, particularly around the social aspects, but wasn't nearly as much fun. This is a product that it just generates, interest and excitement and entertainment. So no, I just think this industry is and there's so much. I think also the other thing was I just kept looking in the industry and I'm like, oh my God, there's so many ideas here that I'd love to just try. And that just pulled me back.
Why not? So what do you need? I mean, most people listening probably just think, well, he doesn't need anything. He's good. He's good to go here. What do you guys need? What are you looking for as you guys head into the future with BetHog? What are some things that you're looking for?
Yeah, I guess we're making a bunch of bets. We could be totally wrong in this, right? It could be that people just want to watch people play the most basic, boring slots that people have played for 20 years. We could be wrong. Everyone sort of talked about interactivity for 10, 15, 20 years. And it's not really happened. I think streaming is a new thing. It's a huge innovation, slot streaming. We look at it as saying, oh, this is a really great innovation. How do we make it better? Maybe we've misread it. Maybe this is how people want to do it. That's a question mark. We just have to, we need to get our products out more in front of more people to get to see we think it's fun. We play it loads internally and we think it's hilarious. In fact, one of the titles there you just brought up your screen is Hogger. So Hogger is what you can see, that's a new game. Very simple game. So you start off with a hog, where you can see the little hog standing side of the road. And your job is to get across the road. Now, randomly, somewhere between the first lane and the last lane, you're going to get squashed.
Yeah.
But as you go across, you can decide, say, you know what, 2x is good for me. I'm going to take the money.
Mm-hmm.
So every go, it's a little like Deal or No Deal. Every go, you're just gambling, right? You're so that's the game format. The game format itself has been around for a while. There's a few other people who get similar products. Here's a twist that we have of their product. Once you start, you can share a link with your fans. So if you're streaming it, and then they can bet on you, right? You've got a bunch of money right in your hog. They can then bet. And then what happens is a little piglet follows the hog. And it's hilarious. So
that's super cool.
If you're a streamer, what you're seeing is your little piglets following you and you're chatting to your guys are going, what do you think? Should we go for it? Should we go for it? And then you go for it. And then you see half the piglets just decide that they're out. They've taken their money.
Yep.
So we've been playing with a bunch of streamers. It's really funny. And just creates just endless entertainment. You're like, wow, this is so much better than watching a stream, right? Watching someone play slots mindlessly. So that's kind of the ideas that we're working on.
Well, thank you for painting that picture because I think that really helped kind of give some clarity around what you're talking about. Innovative games that people can bet on that are kind of slot related, kind of casino related. Really cool. That's a perfect example. I wish I could play. Can I play? I'm in the US. I probably can't.
Unfortunately.
Soon. You said soon, maybe.
Soon. Well, at some point, yes.
Yeah, for sure. Well, cool. Well, Nigel, this has been amazing. I could talk to you all day about some of this stuff. I am going to ask though a little bit off topic, a little bit off BetHog. So, being the businessman you are, there's so many the space, and I'm mainly talking about U.S. related sports products, sports game products, entrepreneurs that are coming into this space, trying to innovate with new products and new platforms. What would be one of your pieces of advice to these new startups that are coming into this space? What would you say to them after all your years of experience? One piece of advice you'd have to some of these guys and gals that are now coming in with these innovative and cool products?
One Piece. It's a hard one. Like, startups are hard. Like there's, as you know yourself, most things don't work. Even ideas that sound like great ideas, they don't work. And so I'd say that's the first thing to realize, is that you're most likely to fail. Even if you've got a good idea or a great team, the most likely scenario outcome is you're going to fail. And so a lot of it is about handling failure, right? And just handling that everything's not going to work. And that doesn't reflect on you, right? Like that's like, like that. I think that's a really big thing. I think that, one of the different people, like, I think, fall into different traps of startups. Like sometimes I've seen it where I've been too ambitious. Like there's something that you sort of think, like, if to be successful, I have to innovate everywhere. Whereas actually you look at a lot of startups and they're like, they only innovate in one area, but they do that really well. I would take, for example, like Stake. Stake didn't think, hey, we have to be a totally new casino, a totally new sports book. They just said, we're just going to focus on being able to take crypto.
Yeah.
And, phenomenally successful. Several $1 billion later, right? Phenomenally successful. FanDuel, you look at in retrospect, it was quite simple. We said, wouldn't it be cool if I could play fantasy sports, but I could, the games would only take a day instead of taking an entire season, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound that sophisticated. Like we didn't. And I remember at the time, and we also were like, and let's make it really simple. Like I remember at the time, so many people pitching us like, oh no, we've got a better fantasy game, which has got like, spreadsheets of all these different rules. And we were like, I don't really understand that. But I do understand that. I think if we can make a game that I can understand, then people could understand it really quickly, and therefore more people would play it.
Yeah.
That's kind of like another trap that people fall into, just like, making ideas are like too complex.
Yeah.
It's oftentimes it's like being really, really good at one, like simple innovation on it, that really kind of wins out. That's kind of been a big thing that I've learned and relearned. Because it's not, a lot of times these lessons don't stick, and you forget about what made you successful last time, and you have to go and relearn it.
Very good advice. Very good advice. I appreciate you sharing that with me. And Nigel, really appreciate this time here today. Any last words? Anything we missed? Anything you want to say? How do people get to BetHog?
So it's BetHog.com. If you want to follow me, I'm Nigel Eccles on Twitter or X. And like I post about it a lot, and kind of our journey is building the product. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you all the success with it, and I wanted to, while I have you on the air here, I do want to personally thank you for what you've done for this industry in general. And not only, all of us in this, we have careers because of people like you who have paved the way and done things in this. But I also have had a lot of fun in this space too. I mean, this small side story, I got to go to the Playboy Mansion on behalf of FanDuel.
Oh, yeah. I never went.
No way. You never got to go.
Never happened. I'll never get to go now.
So, I mean, you've brought some cool experiences to people across this world, and I'm sure you're not done. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more whatever you do going forward. So I wanted to say thank you for that for me personally. So
that's great.
All right, my friend, any last words? Anything else?
That's I think we covered it.
Very easy. Very cool. Well, I'm looking forward to having you on in the future when we have all the success for BetHog. But until then, talk to you soon, Nigel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, Nigel Eccles of BetHog, super, super innovative product. I wish I could get out here and play some of these games, all sorts of cool games, but I encourage you to try it, check it out. Reach out to Nigel, super cool guy. Reach out to him on Twitter, X, check out bethog.com, and we'll go from there. All right, that's it for today. 237 in the books. I'm Ryan Newpel. Take care. Until next time, stay safe and have a good one. Talk to you soon.